Manchester United 3, Nottingham Forest 0, 3 points, the final game at Old Trafford in the Premier League of 2022. Of course, we've just returned back to Old Trafford and 3 points for United. KG, talk to me. How good did that feel this evening?
It felt excellent. I don't know if you can hear me perfectly, but it just felt brilliant.
I can't hear you perfectly.
That's the performance. Not saying it was like a great game. 3-0, you think, oh my goodness, you guys were just killing it. First half, first 20-something minutes, brilliant. Then after second half, we kind of lose our way. It's a bit like silly touches here and there, but Man United are getting the job done. That's what I want to focus on. Man United, this job done FC. You know, we're going out there, we're playing these teams. I think it's like 6 or 7 games in a row when we're just picking up wins. And this is what we're talking about. This is a team building, you know. I've been cussed quite a bit for me saying, you know what, being in and around and one player away from challenging. I've been cussed for that, you know, but then you can see when I keep telling people about a team that's on the pitch, the team that are doing what they need to do, there's a raw spine there. There's a lot of good players. There's players that other clubs would potentially want. Casemiro is a brilliant midfielder. Varane, solid centre back. World Cup winner Lisandro Martinez to return, you know? And then after you're talking about Rashford in the form of his life, you're talking about Rashford saying, you know what, he needs to be counted. When you talk about big players, put my name in the mix. Now, we can't go too far too soon, but I'm saying if Ten Hag's getting that kind of output out of that player, and he's still got Martial. Again, Martial completing 2 games in a row and with no, again, touch wood, you know what I mean, with no issues, is something to celebrate. It is. There is a mentality building at Manchester United that we haven't seen in a very long time. I can under Ralph, under Ollie, us going on like proper super runs. Ollie, you can say there was a few runs here and there, yeah. But I'm saying this is one of those ones where it's not freestyle football. It's planned. This is well thought out. When you look at the first goal, it's thought out. I love it.
It really is. I mean, you mentioned Casemiro. I think he gets everyone's man of the match this evening. When is the last time we've had a midfield player like that? Can you recall the last time we had a midfield player like that where you're talking about he's winning tackles, he's dominating the ball, he's contributing positively to the goal? I mean,
Roy Keane.
do we have to almost actually...
Roy Keane.
You're saying
I have to go that far
what
back.
is he...
I have to go
that far back?
I have to.
Since Roy Keane.
Since Roy Keane. I have to go that far back. Who am I going to say? I can't say Ander Herrera, as much as I love him. I can't say... who else could you put in there? I can't say Pogba because that's not his game. Schneiderlin was a fraud. Bastian Schweinsteiger didn't do anything for us. Darren Gibson, what is that? Who's been the defensive midfielder that you can...
Is even more than a defensive midfielder. That's the point.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. That's how far back when you look at it and say, have you had that level of quality? The guy is doing tackles and turning us into attacks. You know, he's doing tackles in like way back in our half. And it's like it becomes an offensive move, you know, and then the ball that he finds Fred today is ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to pass that good, but this is who you are. And my thing about Casemiro is it's the mentality more than anything. We brought in a true winner, someone with an expectation. These guys, there's an expectation to get these games done. There's expectation to win across the, you know, when you keep saying, look, if we just win all our games, we keep focused, win, win, win. You look at it, and at the end of the season, you're like, raw, look at where we are. Again, we win our next game. If we win our next game because we're like behind Spurs, right? We win our next game in hand.
Yeah,
we're in the top 4. That's how ridiculous and close it is. But because of the way the league ended, you know, top 4 kind of says something about a team moving in the right direction. The same way Newcastle are getting a lot of plaudits, and they deserve it. They deserve it. But when you see teams in the top 4, it says, wow, something is good going. Something good is happening there. And this is a manager that's had to do this the hard way. It's a manager that's had a incredible, a huge falling out with one of the biggest players in world football. is a manager that's he's kind of taken the armband off someone that the media is a media darling in Maguire. And there's been hopes to get Maguire back into the squad. Even when Maguire was fighting for his England space, our manager said, I'm not concerned about England. I just care about Man United. Those are refreshing sound bites. That's the difference of a manager that is doing it purely for the best of the club. When he's talking about Garnacho, he didn't want Garnacho, bro. Garnacho's always been this good, and he's held him back. Why? Attitude. Some of these players getting too much too soon, and he realizes how it can affect these players. And look what he's done. Imagine Garnacho's the first choice sub right now, and it sends a message to the younger players that are coming behind him. It is good man management. This is a guy that is preparing us to be back at the table again. I really believe in Erik ten Hag.
And I guess by that you're saying that, there's been lots of talk about Cody Gakpo not getting the signings and all that kind of stuff in January. But if we play like we played tonight, and some of the people, like Wan-Bissaka, are they almost like a new signing, if you get that version of
Well,
him?
no, do you know what? I won't go as far as that. I won't go as far as saying people are new signings, because this is the manager that deserves the money that other managers have got to spend at this club. Unfortunately, we drained the well, Unfortunately, there's nothing there. There's nothing there, and this manager needs to be backed. He identified Cody Gakpo, and Cody would have been a good signing for us. Again, it wasn't my cup of tea, but I've noticed with the manager, he can do something with what he's asking for, Now, Tyrell Malacia, I do look at him. I am skeptical with Tyrell, but then he's so cheap that it's like he'll work it out. You can tell that it's a raw. Tyrell Malacia is such a raw form. He's not the full. He's not complete yet at all, anywhere near it. But you can see there's a true prospect there. Now, this manager, give him what he needs. If he identifies a striker, we have to do everything we can to bring in this player, because he can have us really in the hunt. We can put ourselves into a title race if you give him what he needs. Again, he's got a standard that he won't let these players go beneath. When you see players like Anthony that he loves, making like silly decisions or not finishing, what does he do? Hooks them off straight away. He's saying, I'm not going to stand for mediocrity at this club. And it's something that has been allowed for many years. Now you're getting Fred off the bench scoring, bro. That's the difference of this team. There was a time before where Fred was the answer. He was the player that was starting games. And I don't even remember saying McFred. We don't say that no more. If we do, it's like, look, it's McFred.
No.
And again,
yeah, it's a novelty.
It's a novelty. And you have to give Ten Hag all the praise for what he's doing at this club. He's doing an excellent job. I'm watching it, and it's making me want more. It's making me hope for more. And I'm going into games saying we're gonna win this game. I'm forgetting about the what's that thing, like when people say, it's the curse or the this, that, and the other. I'm saying no, we can beat these guys.
No jinx.
Forget about the jinx. We're a big club. I used to always think Man United could win these games. Now we're starting to feel it, and I hope that's going amongst the fans as well.
Finally, just before we wrap things up, Martial and Rashford, very, very quickly. Two players at this time last year were Martial was on his way out on loan to Sevilla. Rashford, form was just out the window. Both on the score sheet again, once again this evening. Rashford's on fire. Talking about the manager, does he deserve the praise for their turnaround as well?
Absolutely. Again, Martial was desperate for someone to put an arm around him. That's what he needed more than anything. Both of these players needed an arm around him, needed a bit of love, and they've got that, and they've rewarded the manager with his loyalty in what he's shown in them. He showed faith in them. These guys, again, it sends a huge message to a player like Martial, who, again, Sevilla didn't even want him. We have to remember that. It sends a strong message when the manager's like, no, you're my kind of striker. Then he says, you can play instead of Ronaldo. And Ronaldo, achieved everything you need to achieve in world football. If you're Martial watching that, he's thinking, wait, he's picking me over him. They took my shirt off me before for another player. I've never been in this situation before. This is the man I want to play for. That's the difference. And you go back and you talk about Rashford. Rashford, I felt this way. I was like, listen, if we sell Rashford to PSG, I wouldn't care. It got to that point where I was like, because we saw the form and he knows what he was getting through last year. But
Yeah.
Rashford was outside arguing with fans. It was at the worst it could ever be. Rashford walking in derbies and stuff. Now reinvigorated, enjoying his game, enjoying coming to training. And again, it is the manager. I think if we got another manager, we would have seen the back of Rashford, and Rashford, this kind of form, he would have played it somewhere else. We would have been looking, saying, look what we allowed to get away. But we need to sign him down to a long-term contract. Again, in Ten Hag, I trust. That's all I'm saying. It's Ten Hag.
It's Ten Hag. In Ten
No.
Hag, KG trust Manchester United 3, Nottingham Forest 0. On to the next one. We're out of here.